everybody, welcome back to Robert's English Classroom. I am Robert. This lesson is going to be about advanced vocabulary and phrases that we use when we talk about travel and tourism. When we talk about travel and tourism, there's a lot of special vocabulary that we use. So this lesson can help you have better and richer conversations when you're talking about travel. And remember, at the end of this lesson, I will have a question challenge for you. So answer it in the comment box. And as usual, I will get back to you. I'm always checking my comment box a few times a day at least. Okay, so let's get started with advanced vocabulary and phrases for tourism and travel. Let's go. Let's start with our first phrase, tourist hotspot. Tourist hotspot. Now, a tourist hotspot is a popular destination that attracts a large number of visitors. So if you think of some of the most popular travel places to go or places to see, it's a tourist hotspot. We can call it a tourist hotspot. So usually they are famous landmarks, they can be cultural centers, and they can even be natural attractions, like a waterfall or a mountain. Some famous ones are like the Colosseum in Rome. The Great Wall of China in China is a tourist hotspot. It's a place that people feel they must go and see. Another tourist hotspot is the Eiffel Tower in Paris. Have you been there? And it's one of the world's most famous tourist hotspots. It gets millions of visitors each year, and people come to see the architecture. You can walk up to a halfway up the tower and take a look at Paris. It's just a really nice place to go and get a great photograph as well, right? Another one would be in the USA, the Grand Canyon, which is a natural tourist hotspot. You get great views, stunning views, and you can even walk down into the canyon and go camping and stay overnight if you want, okay? These two places are what we consider tourist hotspots. Some examples. The Australian beach became a tourist hotspot after it was featured in a popular movie. Visiting popular tourist hotspots can be overwhelming due to the large crowds. The next phrase is cultural immersion. Cultural immersion. Now, cultural stands for culture. Immersion means to get into that culture and learn about that culture. Try to be part of the culture. So, cultural immersion refers to an experience where you go somewhere, you visit somewhere, and you are engaged and trying to get an understanding of the culture by actually participating in traditions or customs or just going through everyday life. Okay, you are immersing yourself in the culture. This is cultural immersion. So for example, if you're going to Japan, and you're staying with a local family in Japan. You don't stay in a hotel. You stay in with a local family. You join them for meals. You maybe go to a shrine, right, and do some prayers and offerings. Maybe there's a wedding going on and you can be part of the wedding ceremony. Maybe you're just speaking the language every day. These are all cultural immersion experiences. Okay, you're not just going to watch and look. You're actually involved in the culture somehow. Another example is volunteering at a school in India, for example. You go to India and you volunteer at a school. So you're interacting with the community. You learn about their lifestyle. Maybe you're teaching at the school, so you learn about what Indian schools are really like and how children behave and what they think. These are cultural immersion experiences. And it is a type of travel for people nowadays. Some examples. Travelers seeking cultural immersion often choose homestays over hotels. So like I said, if you're going to experience cultural immersion, you're not going to stay in a big hotel. You want to stay maybe with a family. The language program promotes cultural immersion by organizing visits to historical sites and local markets. The next one is off the beaten track. Off the beaten track. So first, let's talk about beaten and track. Now, beaten, when we talk about a path in the woods, imagine a path in the park or in the woods. A beaten path means people have walked on it a lot, and so much that you can actually see where people have walked. Maybe before there was grass, but now it's just dirt. Because so many people have walked on this path, it has become beaten down. And track is another word for a walkway or a path. So off the beaten track means to travel to a lesser known or lesser visited place. And it's away from the usual tourist spots. So think about it like you're not walking on the path that everybody walks. You're walking on a fresher, lesser used path. When you don't walk on a beaten path, when you walk off the beaten path, you might feel the experience is a little different and a little fresher. Maybe even a little more exciting. Now, nowadays on social media, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, it's getting harder and harder to find places off the beaten path, right? Because once someone off the beaten path, right away they post it on social media. And it might become popular and viral, and then more and more people go, and soon it's a popular place and not off the beaten path anymore, right? And that's the way of the travel world today. Adventurous travelers often seek places off the beaten track for unique experiences. We found a quiet, off the beaten track cafe in Rome, far from the busy tourist areas and only visited by locals. The next one is heritage site, a heritage site. So a heritage site is a location that's recognized for its historical, cultural, or environmental significance. And the organization UNESCO UNESCO stands for United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization. And UNESCO has gone around the world and it will label places UNESCO sites. That means they are culturally, environmentally, or historically important in the world. And right now there are 1,288 UNESCO sites in 168 countries. So, for example, in India, the famous Taj Mahal, that's a UNESCO heritage site. The city of Venice in Italy is a heritage site. The whole city is a UNESCO heritage site. So heritage sites are, again, known for its historical, environmental, or cultural importance. And a lot of people like to visit them and check them off the list as they visit them. And a lot of them are worth going to. Machu Picchu in Peru is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It has historical significance and it's really beautiful. Another heritage site is the Great Wall of China, right? And it's a symbol of ancient history. It has amazing architecture. It's just very, very unique. So some examples here. Visitors are advised to be respectful when visiting heritage sites to help preserve them, because a lot of them are very old and a lot of them are environmental. The city is home to several heritage sites that date back to the medieval period. Sustainable tourism. Sustainable tourism. Sustainable tourism is a hot topic these few years. And This is because tourism has really exploded around the world. I mean, people are traveling all the time now and from all different countries. So, sustainable tourism refers to traveling in a way that minimizes the negative impact of the environment or a negative impact on local communities. So, sustainable tourism is here to protect natural resources and support the local economy, not just send lots and lots of buses and people to a small village and disrupt the village, or to send lots and lots of buses and people to a natural place, and the natural place becomes noisy and dirty and polluted, right? So we want sustainable tourism that keeps things local and natural. So, for example, some hotels can be sustainable tourism, right? They might use solar power instead of using a generator or electricity, right? So they're going to use eco-friendly power in the small town or village they might be in. Another example is towns or villages that don't allow big buses to go into their towns. So instead, they want you to either go in a small group or go in at different times throughout the day. This is to minimize the amount of garbage, the amount of noise, and the amount of pollution. So this is what we call sustainable tourism. Some examples. Many travelers are now choosing sustainable tourism options to reduce their environmental footprint. The company promotes sustainable tourism by partnering with local businesses and conservation projects. Now, another hot topic recently in the news is over-tourism. Over-tourism, which is a little bit the opposite of sustainable tourism. So over-tourism is a situation where the destination or the place becomes overcrowded with tourists. Too many visitors, too many tourists all the time. And what happens is it leads to negative impacts on the local environment and the quality of life for the people who actually live there. Now, a few places recently that have talked about over-tourism. One is Venice, Italy. I talked about Venice before. It struggles with over-tourism because thousands of tourists flood the city every day. It's a small, old city, and it's really cool and really beautiful to go to, but thousands of people go there every day from the ships or from the buses that come in or just staying there, right? So it makes living there quite difficult for the residents, and it takes a lot of resources. It's noisy, there's a lot of garbage, etc. Another recent example is Barcelona, Spain. Now, Barcelona is a pretty big city, but it's become so popular, and it's a really nice place to visit. There's lots of great things to see there and great cuisine to eat. But there's now a lot of traffic, a lot of garbage. It's super noisy. The tourists can be disrespectful, and the residents are tired of it. So they want the city to do something about the over-tourism in Barcelona. So some examples here. Over-tourism has led some cities to impose tourist taxes to control visitor numbers. And I think now Venice, when you go to Venice, they actually charge you a small fee to enter Venice. The government is working on strategies to reduce over-tourism in popular national parks. The next phrase is interesting. Niche tourism. Niche tourism. So niche tourism is a kind of travel that focuses on a specific interest, a specific activity or theme, like cooking or adventure or ecotourism. So for example, if you love food, okay, you might engage in niche tourism by going to a country and taking a cooking class and exploring different types of foods and restaurants and drinks. And this is the main theme of your travel, is to learn about the food and culinary of a place. Another example is if you like wildlife, you might go to Africa and go on an African safari to learn about specific animals. I have a friend who leads bird watching tours. That's his company. And he says bird watchers are a niche group that come on his tours just to see specific types of birds. So bird watching is niche tourism. Some examples. Niche tourism allows travelers to have personalized experiences that match their interests. The growth of niche tourism has led to specialized tour companies catering to unique tastes, just like my friend and his birdwatching business. Our last phrase is one I've seen recently on social media a lot. Authentic experience. Authentic experience. Now, authentic means real, like a real experience, okay? An authentic experience. So authentic means engaging in activities that show the true culture, the true traditions, and the true lifestyle of a place. It's not just going and looking and taking a photo, but it's getting involved. We talked about this earlier with cultural immersion, right? So it's a little bit the same. So a lot of people nowadays, they don't want to just travel, see the pretty building and take a picture and leave, right? Instead, they want to do something, have a real experience in the country or in the culture, right? So they might do things like I said before, they might take cooking classes to really learn how to cook some Mexican dishes, for example. Or maybe they go on a long hike into the wilderness for a few days so they can really feel these natural places and see wildlife and see what it's like in this country, in this place, to be out in the wild. These are considered authentic experiences, and people are trading them for the old way of travel, which is just going, watching, eating, and moving on, and shopping, right, and moving on. So for some examples here, travelers seeking authentic experiences often avoid large chain hotels in favor of local accommodations. So instead of going to the big famous hotels, maybe you find a small B&B or a small little homestay off the beaten track, right? So you can live within a neighborhood and feel like the experience is a little more authentic. He wanted an authentic experience, so he spent a week with a local family in a remote village. So let's review our phrases. First one, tourist hotspot. Cultural immersion. Off the beaten track. Heritage site. Sustainable tourism. Over tourism. Niche tourism. Authentic experience. So there you have it. These are some commonly used English phrases for tourism and travel. And like I said, a lot of these are quite popular nowadays. I think a lot of it is because social media has really changed the way people view traveling and how they share their traveling experiences. Okay. Now, as I said, I always have a question challenge for you. So here it is. Okay. Do you prefer to travel to tourism hotspots or go off the beaten path? All right. Let me know in your answer in the answer or in the comment box, and I'll get back to you. Again, do you like hotspots or do you want to go off the beaten path? Or maybe you like to do both. Okay. So I hope this helps, and check out again some other lessons about the IELTS test and some of the topics that they might be talking about. I'll see you in the next lesson. Bye-bye.